I'm Nathan Simmons, and all you have to do is follow 3 simple rules. 1, never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected. 2, take it outside. Never start anything inside the bar unless it's absolutely necessary. And 3, be nice. We watched Roadhouse, right?
Yeah, we watched a concept of a Roadhouse. I'm Dustin Goes to Hollywood, and I have interesting fingerprints.
That's true.
And I'm just glad we can finally have a chance to openly discuss Dustin's fetishes.
Oh boy.
Jeez.
This is the Silver Linings Playlist, a podcast that tries to understand why this movie is part of the fucking Criterion Collection. I didn't like it, boys. I'm gonna be honest, just right up top.
Of course. There's gotta always be one.
just gonna bring the vibe down immediately. What the fuck?
Look, I know what we're going to say. Because those who are listening can't see this, but Mally has very specifically chosen his old Skype profile picture. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this. It's specifically Ben Affleck in Armageddon. Am I correct about that?
No.
Is that not Michael Biehn?
That's Ben
it's
Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Oh, okay, I can't tell.
Is that him in Pearl Harbor?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was going to make the joke of, well, the Armageddon's in Criterion Collection, so if we're really going to be splitting hairs here.
And it fucking earns it.
Speaking of splitting hairs, I think that I am going to find myself sort of directly in the middle.
Okay.
Between Dustin and Mally here, because there are things about this movie that I truly love, but I also think it somehow keeps topping itself and loses steam at the same time.
Okay. Well, it's unfortunate to be the only one on the right side of history with this. So JT, where do you stand on Hausu?
I have no idea what I was watching, but I loved it.
Okay, see? That's the right takeaway.
I was just having a great time with it.
That's the right takeaway.
I gotta stop watching these movies first thing on Sunday morning. That's the issue.
That's the problem right there.
You're still digesting. I watched this movie twice this week because...
Just like the piano.
Yeah.
Because I watched it at the top of the week and was like, I cannot take notes. There's too much happening. There's constant like visual information. So I watched this movie twice this week, and I think I'm changed.
Really? Because you got a solid 30 minutes up top where fucking nothing happens. Could have taken plenty of fucking notes then.
That's the part of the movie that I like the most.
Yeah, I told JT before he put it on, I was like, if you manage to get it all in one viewing, I'll be very impressed. Because on the second time is when I started to like put things together. I was like, okay, that connects to that. It's not just weird for weird's sake. I understand it a little bit better now, but
there is plenty of that though.
Yeah, no, this movie is almost impenetrable. I will give you that for sure.
There's no way that David Lynch didn't see this movie because there are shots that are in some of his films like Wild at Heart, or like there is an effect in this movie that is fully recreated in Twin Peaks: The Return. Like it's kind of wild, and I want to find out if he ever saw this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like he had to have.
I was going to say the same thing about Sam Raimi, because this has got some Evil Dead as fuck vibes in it.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, I guess we also have a guest joining us this week as well, who demanded she come on because she had a lot to say, and then on the rewatch took, I think, the total sum of 3 notes, but I'm eager to hear what those notes are.
Yeah, it was too much.
I hear you. Yeah.
Well, let's introduce her. Please welcome back to the show, Miss Priscilla Hendry.
Woo!
Yay.
Double cheers. Look at that.
We first watched this movie while we were sick.
Oh, no.
Like, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I definitely thought it was a fever dream.
Well, I mean, fully sober and healthy watching it last night. Still a fever dream. I'll let you know. Yeah, this was one of those movies that I feel like I've heard about ever since I was able to process thoughts. And last October, I decided to watch a bunch of the very popular horror movies that I had never seen before. Like, I had never seen The Others, even though I knew the twist of it. I had never seen the OG Suspiria, even though we've done the remake on the show.
Human Centipede, of course. But
this was one of those that I threw in, and this is probably one of the top rated ones out of all those for me personally. Like, between this and I think Gaspar Noé's Climax, I was like, these are my 2 favorite that I've watched.
Wow.
Yeah, it lived up to the hype, because there's no way we're going to be able to walk through this movie beat for beat and describe the plot. It's just not possible. And if we spend the whole episode just describing what happens on screen with the special effects and the editing, we also will be here for at least conservatively roughly 5 hours.
Yeah.
It is going to be a weird one to talk about.
I'm going to check out in about 30 minutes.
just like you did with the first half of the movie, apparently, too.
Yeah.
No, you could see this movie's influence a lot in comedy, I think. I think one of the biggest examples, if I had to put a point to it, is I see a lot of this movie in the Eric Andre show.
Oh, I also dislike that.
The absurdist plots, the unhinged editing, the bizarre special effects. Like, when you find out the context of it, it makes a little bit more sense. But even still, 50 years later almost, this movie is a lot of movie for only 87 minutes or whatever it is. It's a lot.
So when you put this on the schedule or saw it for the first time, were you also aware that there's like, because you've been referring to it as Hausu in the group text. Do you know that there's like discourse around whether film bros should call it Hausu or house?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
It's the same argument of like white guys shouldn't wear kimonos, but we're breaking all the rules here, folks.
But yeah, the movie is officially called House. And that's because the director...
So wait, we're just going to breeze right past that.
I was shocked.
That's how it's literally said in the trailer multiple times. But the director said he wanted to name the movie an American name, which is why it's just called House, because that was considered taboo to name a Japanese movie after an American word. So it's not technically called Hausu, but that's the Japanese translation of it. So I don't think it really fucking matters, to be honest with you. But if you really are a stickler about it, we can just keep calling it House. That's totally fine. But I want to give a little bit of backstory on this. So who had seen this before? Because obviously...
God, this is worse than the X bit.
Obviously, Priscilla and I had seen it before. Had anyone else seen it before then?
I saw it early pandemic, and then I texted you that while I was watching it, I felt like maybe I hadn't seen this before. And I think it's truly because there's just so much happening in like every frame. And it's so bonkers that there are gags in this. Like, I did not remember the shot of just the severed fingers playing piano.
Yep.
And some of the weird editing stuff, like we were talking off mic before this, Mr. Togo just yelling banana over and over again on a loop. Like, what the fuck is happening?
With the footage reversing, playing forward, reversing, playing forward.
And I think it was just one of those things where, like, there were a lot of movies I watched in early 2020 that just sort of washed over me.
Sure.
Because I was dissociating at all times. And... I truly don't even remember what I thought of it at the time. This felt like a first watch. I did buy this during a Criterion sale, and I had a similar reaction to Mally, where I was like, this is on the fucking Criterion collection? Okay, all right, let's do it. $20, let's do it.
Maybe I'm just like, outside the box here. I think it perfectly fits in with the Criterion collection.
I think it makes total sense if we're looking at, there's a lot of outsider art and a lot of like sort of foundational movies in Criterion, whether you like the movie or not. It's hard to argue that there's a bunch of stuff like it.
That's true. It is very singular in its, approach and its execution. We're going to talk about it here in a second, but the way this movie got made, if you don't know about it, is fucking fascinating. Toho is the studio behind this, which if you don't know is also the studio behind all of the OG Godzilla films. And pretty much all of those are in the Criterion as well. Not undeservingly, but like...
Which is why Jet Jaguar shows up in a post-credits scene.
Exactly.
Fuck, I knew I should have stayed till the end.
Which is, those Godzilla movies have their charm, like especially like the 70s and 80s era ones.
Oh yeah,
but I would not call them also Criterion level, entries into the pantheon. But that's
shut the fuck up.
I know.
Yeah, let's watch your mouth.
But if we're being honest with ourselves,
and I am,
fly to Florida and whoop your ass
and destroy all monsters is in my Criterion collection in my heart.
Oh boy. All I'm saying is this guy put an amazing movie out there. And if you don't jive with it, it's fine. I completely understand. Because like I said, it is so hard to watch at times, for sure. Because it's like, there is so much movie in this movie that it's hard to digest. But I still think it's, like I said, it's so unique.
Yeah.
And it's so specific that I think it deserves its place in the Criterion collection, for sure.
Yeah, I would recommend not watching it twice in a week.
Sure.
Because it is like, I did enjoy my time with it a lot more the first time I watched it this week. And the second time, granted, anytime you're taking notes, it can kind of take the fun out of things.
Sure.
But the second time it did feel sort of like an endurance test by like the last 15 minutes of the movie.
That's fine. I get,
Man, I'm telling you, if you cut out all the like fucking repeat shots where they show the same thing 5 times, This movie's 30 minutes long.
True, but then you wouldn't get all of Kung Fu's cool flying kicks.
Yeah.
Why do they all have like stripper versions of the Seven Dwarves names?
See, I thought they were named after Pokemon trainers.
Oh, I thought there was the Spice Girls.
Yeah, like this was a combination. Priscilla was like, these sound like stripper names or Spice Girl names. I'm like, it sounds like the Seven Dwarfs to me. So like, I'm glad we were all simpatico on that.
Kung Fu Spice.
Wait, do we all have to pick a name based off one personality fucking trait?
Oh, we're gonna definitely decide who's who for sure at some point.
Oh, I'm Wife Spice.
What do you think, Priscilla? Is this Criterion level or not?
I mean, I don't fucking know.
All right.
No, she doesn't know what Criterion is.
I do, but like Eraserhead is in there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like it's also just weird for weird's sake.
I truly did not expect this level of antagony on this episode. I thought we'd come in and be like, yeah, it's a fun time. I didn't expect people to be angry.
That's why I was like, I'm so excited to finally be on an episode that's not sad as shit.
Yeah, you paid your dues. This is no Grave of the Fireflies. I'll give you that.
It sure isn't.
Also, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've been on an episode with Priscilla for like 3 years.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, the last two. I did Grave of the Fireflies and that racist movie.
That racist movie.
Yeah.
She's not wrong. But if you need a little bit of backstory, I'm here to give it to you. So here's how they came about making House. So Jaws comes out in the 70s, and it's lauded as like the first real blockbuster.
Really driving that bit into the ground.
Of course. Just like the movie, just repeating bits constantly.
Jaws.
So Jaws comes out. Hold on. I think I can do that. Jaws.
Oh, worth it.
So Jaws comes out in the 70s. It's a huge blockbuster, and every other country wants their version of Jaws. So Toho, which is, again, the studio behind Godzilla, they hired this guy, Nobuhiko Ôbayashi, who at the time in the 70s is like the David Fincher or the Zack Snyder of Japan, in that he is a very successful TV commercial director.
He did a series of cologne commercials with Charles Bronson that are fucking crazy. They're so insane.
Charles Bronson involved in something crazy? Shocking news.
So they figure out the formula is, okay, we just hire a young up-and-comer auteur director. We just throw a bunch of money at them, and then we'll get our own Jaws.
Yeah.
And so...
I mean, they're wrong, but they got the spirit.
Yeah.
It is really funny, though. They're like, yeah, no one knew who Steven Spielberg was, so we'll just get some, like, workman, like, guy. And then they literally are like, we like Jaws. Can you write Jaws?
Yeah.
And this is what they...
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes. Well, we're going to get there. So
they're aware they already had Godzilla, right?
Well, the idea was we don't want necessarily a, find and replace shark for other animal. They just want something that is appealing to a broad audience. They want something that they can market to every quadrant.
And this is what they can...
Well, we're going to get there. Hold on. So they hired this guy just to write the story. They're like, look, we can't hire you to direct because Toho only hires in-house directors to direct their stuff. They're still on like the studio system back then. And so they're like, just come up with a story and pitch it to us. So he goes to his daughter, who at the time is like 10 or 11. And he's like, what do you think? What scares you? And she starts pitching ideas of like what scares her as a child, as a 10-year-old. She's
the original Robert Rodriguez.
She's like, I'm scared of my grandparents' grandfather clock. I'm scared of when I took piano lessons. One time my fingers got stuck in between the keys and it hurt.
Valid.
All these things he then takes and he's like, okay, I can make that into like horror motifs throughout the movie. So that's why you have like the piano eating the girl's fingers and the girl stuck in the clock and everything like that. So this is all from the perspective of what a kid finds scary, which is obviously different than giant fucking shark. You know what I mean? And
we've all had that nightmare about a watermelon biting our butt because it's actually our friend.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I've been in a room with Dustin before.
And the mattress tornado is also very scary. But anyways, so that's what he decides to do. He's like, okay, I'll put all that stuff in as like the horror elements. And then he adds in the part about the aunt and losing her husband or her fiance in the war. And I think the thing that's really relevant about that is Ôbayashi was born in 1938 and grew up in Hiroshima and said that he lost all of his friends, all his childhood friends in the bombing.
Right.
Like all of them were just straight up dead.
Damn.
And, obviously he survived. I think the theme of this woman who lost her love in the war and then has to see all these very young, immature, naive girls frolic around without even the concept concept of World War II.
Yeah.
I think it's something very close to him, and that's why he puts that into this character, the aunt, and who is essentially just a witch, basically feeding off of the youth of these kids that have no real concerns. That's why I feel like they are heightened up to be like everything is fun and frolicky and jolly and everything else.
I did find it weird that when they do, like when they're talking about the aunt's backstory, the one girl does explain the war like it's something no one had ever heard of.
Yes.
She's like, long ago, Japan had a great war. Like, yeah, they're probably aware.
Yeah.
That's the fascinating thing about that generation, the mix of survivor's guilt and also just a bit of like anger and cynicism towards the folks who like weren't directly affected by it.
Yeah.
Informs so much of the art produced around this time.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting, I mean, this movie's so wackadoo, but that is such an interesting context to put this in.
I mean, one of the girls, when Gorgeous is literally describing the backstory about her aunt, and they can all see the flashback, they're all pointing out.
That really made me laugh, where she's just like, oh, look, her dress is so nice.
Yes.
It's like she's telling the story.
Yeah, I know. But one of the girls, like, there's a brief glimpse of the bomb going off, and one of the girls even says, oh, it looks like cotton candy.
Right.
Like, really infantilizing this entire concept.
Baffling.
I think that's, like, if I had to describe this movie to people that haven't seen it, you remember that scene in Home Alone where Kevin's afraid of the furnace? It's that for 90 minutes.
Damn, yeah.
You're right.
With like crazy special effects thrown in.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the score of a Looney Tunes cartoon.
The score is insane. We'll talk about that.
Get used to that bum, 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 because it's 90% of the film.
Yep.
We'll hear that theme a lot. And Kung Fu's theme that lasts about 2 seconds just looped.
That's my favorite sting in the movie. It's so sick.
But yeah, it's that for 90 minutes. It's like what's scary to a kid filtered out through like a child's perception.
Mm-hmm.
But the last thing I want to say before we get to the info dump is the trailer that, I don't know if it's the original trailer or just the one that Criterion released. It feels like it's a trailer from the 70s. But it calls this movie the first fantasy horror movie. Which I don't disagree with, but I feel like is an interesting way to tackle this because it also feels like a black comedy to me.
See, I feel like it feels like it's slightly horny.
It is,
slightly?
But it's also very weird because you got this older man directing this thing and there's a bunch of like preteen girls.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I feel like it's not horny in terms of like sexualization because there's parts where the girls are topless and they are underage, but it's not for titilization's sake. It's literally
that
like
you know of.
But it's goofy.
Well, there is a behind the scenes story where like one of the girls was nervous about their nude scene.
Sure.
So the other girl took her shirt off to make her more comfortable. And then the director was like, oh, I should add another topless scene. Like that was his takeaway, which is not great.
Not good.
No, I am not defending.
It just felt very fetishy.
Sure, I am not defending it whatsoever.
Yo, I hate to admit this, but I agree with Priscilla.
All right. I guess maybe because I'm looking at it through something like American fetishization.
The Kung Fu chick just loses her skirt for no reason.
And she never put pants back on.
The logs that she's fighting like birds it away. It's so quick what happens to her skirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm just looking at it through like the fetishization of like how American movies are doing that.
Sure.
Versus Japanese movies. And I don't see it as like drooling over these young girls. I just feel like it's like this weird thing happens, you know, and it's like kids don't perceive that as being weird. So why should the movie? And they just move on. Like Kung Fu losing her skirt.
Parents just don't understand.
That's basically what it is. And with that, let me get real quick into the info dump behind
House.
Jesus, I'm already sick of it.
So as we mentioned, the year is 1977. The director is Nobuhiko Ôbayashi. I'm going to try, fellas. Here we go. The film stars Kimiko, Ikegami, Miki, Jinbo, Matubara, Kumiko Oba, Miyako Sato, Eriko Tanaka, Masayo Miyako, and Yōko Minamida.
And Andy Muschietti.
I have no idea what the budget of this thing was, but I do know Toho just chucked a bunch of cash at the director.
Negative $13.
It managed to gross $214,000 worldwide.
Wow.
But currently sits at a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Huh?
I don't believe it.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if you believe it or not. It is.
The other fascinating thing about him writing the screenplay, because they wanted their own Jaws, is Toho like reads the story treatment and just says, this is fucking nonsense. We're not making this movie. And so like as a trial run, he does a radio play based on it. And then that gains popularity. And Toho has a string of failures that all seem like sure things. So they come back to him and they're like, okay, we keep producing movies based on scripts that make sense to us. Your script is bullshit, so maybe we make that next.
Yeah. It was a very
let's just try something else.
It's how Sean Connery like looked at scripts in his late stage, like, well, I don't understand The Matrix or Lord of the Rings.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
So I'll do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I don't know. Yeah, he would even make, like, before the movie was in production, he made business cards that said like House coming soon, directed by me, and would just pass it out to people. And they're like, it's not even in production yet. What are you talking about? But yeah, the movie had a very like strong cult following, like almost immediately with like the youth of Japan, because they really fucked with it.
Yeah.
But to no one's surprise, yeah, the modern audiences are like, what do I make of this? And they're like, it's Jaws, right? This is Jaws.
You like Jaws? Well, here's a weird Japanese carnival.
Yeah.
With some of the best matte paintings you've ever seen.
Oh my God. Yes, the matte paintings are amazing. But there's no real point in playing the trailer because it isn't Japanese. Mm-hmm. So we can just get right into this thing. So I think the best way to break this thing down is let's real quickly, broad strokes, tell you what the plot is.
Okay.
And then we can run through our notes after that because the plot's pretty bare bones.
Mm-hmm. Bananas.
Well, bananas do play a part in it. There is a schoolgirl named Gorgeous, which right off the bat, you're like, okay, I kind of know what kind of movie I'm in for.
And you said this movie wasn't fetishy.
Fair point. So there's Gorgeous, and she's got all her friends.
No, go ahead. Yeah, name them.
They're fantasy, melody, kung fu,
hell yeah,
sweets, prof or prof. It's professor shortened. I don't really know how the Japanese like pronounce that.
I believe it's prof.
And then Mac, who is the boldest to name this character Mac. Less than a decade after the Big Mac came out, and they're like, "Look at this fucking fat girl," and she's the exact.
And they're like, "It's short for stomach. She loves to eat," and it is. Man, we were still doing this. I mean, we still did this for another 2 decades in movies.
She is the exact same size as all the other girls. It's like when Jessica Simpson did the Dukes of Hazzard movie. They're like, look at this fucking fat girl playing Daisy Duke, and she's like a size 0.
They're all like, oh, you probably stole that watermelon because you can't fucking control yourself. It sucks.
But then they laugh. They all laugh, including Meg. She's like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, she laughs too. She's like, yeah, you're right.
So they're going on summer vacation. Her dad is a film composer that is returning from Italy.
Yeah.
And
is he to blame for this movie?
He might, but I'll tell you one thing he's not to blame for is fashion crimes, because this dude's fits are out of this world.
Unreal.
Every fit he's got.
Yeah.
The man can dress.
They call him Ranch because he'd be dressing. So he comes back.
I hate you so much. JT, boo this man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's fair.
I should also mention that several times in my notes, my phone autocorrected Gorgeous to Grogu.
How often do you type in Grogu?
So just imagine him in the movie.
This man be talking about the Mandalorian.
So her dad comes back from Italy from working on a movie, and he says, look, I know you've missed your mom who died 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But I brought you home a new mom.
Mm-hmm.
And Gorgeous is not having it. So she runs to her room. She has flashbacks of her mom.
Yeah.
And she writes a letter to her aunt, who she's only ever met once.
Yeah.
And says, I'm supposed to be going on this summer vacation to this other place, but I'd rather come see you. Is it okay if I come see you and bring my friends?
Wait a second. I mean, this is jumping ahead, but it just occurred to me. How did she meet the aunt once if the aunt has been dead since?
I had the same question.
So
the fuck?
The twist at the end of the movie is that
this is like finding out the shark was dead the whole time.
Kind of, because the twist at the end is it's just her spirit that's still walking around this, house.
Or rolling.
Or dancing. What the fuck?
And there's like a throwaway line that I think implies that
the fucking dance break in this movie.
It's my favorite scene.
It's also like implied, I think it's a throwaway line that like the cat Blanche is also part of the scheme in that it's the one that sent the letter, because the Blanche just arrives at Gorgeous's house and she's like, oh, hello, cat.
Yeah.
And then we kind of find out that cat lives with the aunt, and it's a train ride away.
The cat is like a familiar.
Yes, exactly.
Such a perfect little angel of a cat.
Oh my God. Priscilla was like, this cat can do no wrong, and then it like spews blood from its mouth and fills up a whole room and everything.
Good girl.
I mean, to be fair, it's named after the sassiest golden girl.
It sure is. It sure is.
We should have seen it coming.
Or the drunkest Tennessee Williams character.
That too.
So they hop on a train ride, they get to the house, and then the aunt is like, oh, I'm so glad you girls are here. I've been so lonely.
I'm going to steal your souls.
I'm sorry, you're just glossing over the pedophilic teacher?
We will come back to Mr. Togo and the watermelon salesman and all that stuff. I'm just trying to get broad strokes here.
Okay.
So the aunt, we get this flashback about the aunt that she had a fiance that had to go off because he was drafted in World War II. He promised he'd come back and he never did. And her sister got married. That's Gorgeous's mom, and she was clearly jealous of that. And so we come to find out that because all these girls start getting killed off one by one in the most absurd ways possible, that the aunt is basically a witch that draws young girls to her mansion and feast on their bodies and souls or whatever, and that keeps her spirit around. And that's kind of the broad strokes of the movie. We'll talk more specifics as we go along, but that's...
It's like a weird version of Snow White.
Kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, there's the 7 dwarves, which are the 7 girls, basically.
Yes, there are.
It is pretty much that.
Mr. Togo is the huntsman.
Mr. Togo. Okay,
this all tracks.
JT, this is your first time watching it. When they started like the Mr. Rogers Sesame Street section with like the cobbler and the girls cleaning the shoes in tandem and Mr. Togo falling into the bucket that then like slides down the stairs, what did you think about the movie at that point?
That was the point where like, so we've seen like these weird backdrops and the painted scenes and the sunsets and stuff. And I was like, okay, something seems weird. It was at that where I was like, so this seems weird. This is the part where like, okay, we're just in full bonkers. Like there's no...
Oh, they're for real.
Yeah.
They're for real.
This dude stop motioned into a bucket, going down the stairs, spins in circles, gets hit by a car. It's a whole thing.
When he's on the phone with the bucket on his butt, and there's a little girl just hitting the bucket with sticks.
Yep.
The little girl, the shoemaker, is the daughter of the director, I think. If I looked at it, read that correctly.
Who came up with the ideas for this movie, basically.
Yeah.
I kept saying it felt like a Beatles music video.
It kind of did, a little bit.
Especially when it becomes a music video, which I'm obsessed with that Cherries song that like... It's like the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
A Hard Day's House.
I thought this was basically like the Banana Splits.
Oh
like,
my
this
gosh.
is exactly what this felt like to me. But I love the switches and tones that are just so abrupt because like the editing will do like the closed iris with like the woo sound and it'll pop back up and then suddenly we're doing like this Hard Day's Night-esque moment that seemingly is just there just to be there.
Or then we're on like at Gorgeous's house, which is like a low budget version of Gone with the Wind. Like that porch is like, it's absolutely beautiful. But then they're doing these like wild soap opera-esque performances. Like the dad is announcing, I'm back from LA. Sergio Leone said, my music is better than Ennio Morricone. And I was like, absolutely not if it sounds like this.
I wrote down, press X to doubt. Yeah. No, speaking of the music, we got to talk about the score of this movie.
Yeah.
House, I killed somebody.
It is so insane because like it'll go from like when she's talking to her dad for the first time, there's this jaunty little piano that's playing like you'd hear in like a Western saloon. And then at times, for no reason, there's like a funk track playing, like a 70s funk track. And then when that's not happening, it's just the theme, the little piano like music box.
Ding, dun,
just on a loop.
I'm not hearing the issue, Dustin. I'm not hearing the concern.
I'm not saying it's an issue. I'm just saying it's an insane choice.
Oh, it's an issue.
There's like 3 songs from the band Gadiego, which also did like 3 other movies with Ôbayashi.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, they speak for the children, right?
Are they the ones that opened the Olympics last year?
They sure did. They sure did.
That was a legitimate question.
They are the ones who like shake the girls' hands when they leave.
About the film composer, because it's fun. I think it's funny because the dad in this movie is a film composer. Do you guys know that the film composer has a fairly prominent role in this movie on screen? He is the guy with the watermelons.
Oh
no.
My God.
That's the film's composer, who apparently when he was like reading the script for the first time was like, okay, I have this very serious idea for what the tone should be. And the director's like, no, we're not doing that. And so he was like the only one who didn't get the movie as they were making the movie. So his performance is very inspired. I'll say that. Because he is in like a Popeye cartoon. He's like playing like Bruto or something.
I cannot make heads nor tails of that character.
He was in on it, right?
It seemed that way, right?
I would assume so, but he turns into a skeleton out of fear. Like, he just kind of disappears.
Well, no, he turns into a skeleton when Mr. Togo says that he doesn't like watermelons, which is what I do when someone says they don't like podcasts. I'm like, oh, I have nothing to offer.
Oh, man, Mr. Togo, we're going to talk about him.
As someone that doesn't really like watermelons, is it normal to eat it with a spoon?
You can.
I guess you could, yeah.
Okay.
If you're fancy.
I was just curious.
I just thought that the portion sizes of the watermelons, I don't know how every girl got that size of a watermelon when there was only one.
Auntie has like a fourth of a watermelon.
Yeah. But back to the dad, I did find it interesting that when he comes back and he says, I found a companion, I like that Gorgeous goes, who is she? Or he. I was like, well, it's very progressive for the 70s.
Yeah, good for her.
And then, the stepmom comes out.
Well, she knows her dad's in the movie business. Like, he's moving and shaking. He's experimenting. He's coming home and telling his kid about it.
We all gay once in a while.
Yeah, in this outfit, he is certainly, he's swinging for sure.
He's dressed like Porco Rosso.
He is. To speak to the soap opera nature you talked about, Nathan, the stepmom gets introduced, and it's incredible because she comes out gliding with like the scarf blowing in the wind. And
how do you enter a room?
Well, they might as well have put petroleum on the lens just to get that gloss to it because it is so funny that.
I know it's shot like season 1 of Drag Race. It's just everything's been rubbed with ham.
Just gotta throw a little Vaseline on the lens, go for that soft focus.
With ham.
The stepmom has got the only one that is affected by the wind.
Yeah.
Like, there's no wind on Gorgeous or the Dad, which I thought was very funny.
No, when we see her drive at the end of the movie and that scarf is just over her face, I laughed so hard. I was like, girl, you can't see where you're going.
It's so good. And
you're going to run into the Hausu.
Just gonna run into the house.
Hey.
God damn it.
And so there's this flashbacks that Gorgeous has about her mom.
Yeah.
And Priscilla pointed this out that the mom has a very prominent scarf in the flashbacks, and I didn't even put it together. That's the same scarf that the stepmom has on. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very, very interesting because I didn't notice that the first time around.
Yeah, she did her dirty.
I love the moment when like her dad is like, you don't have to like mend my sleeves anymore because I found somebody, and she like gets distracted from the conversation, flashing back to doing that for him because she likes the way things are, you know. I don't know. There's some nice little moments like that.
Yeah, the montage of all his fits, where like his cardigan is incredible. Yeah. Like this dude don't be missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she runs back to her room, and I just gotta say, I mean, I like that even the door has the rose wallpaper on it. I thought that was pretty slick.
Oh man, that wallpaper is great.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to the school where we get introduced to all her friends, and Kung Fu gets introduced by punching, which I think it's a basketball that comes rocketing at the group.
We get little we get like 3 separate introductions to them because later in the movie we get like the sitcom opening where everybody's face gets haloed and they say a catchphrase. But here we pan over, Melody's playing guitar, Kung Fu does Kung Fu, Mac is eating.
Yeah, you're right. Mac is of course eating because Mac is always eating apparently. And then they meet Mr. Togo, who Gorgeous admits, or is it Fantasy that says they have a crush on him? It's one of the two. I cannot remember.
Fantasy does, yeah.
Rocking the hardest mutton chops.
They talk about him for a full scene, and then when he shows up, I literally said out loud, "This guy."
Yeah. This guy that is driving Speed Buggy, that Hanna-Barbera cartoon. That's fucking vehicle all the time.
Bleep bleep.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not like that.
Priscilla didn't know who that was, and I had to show it to her last night. I was like, look at this Discount Shaggy that's riding Speed Buggy.
I didn't like that shit either.
Oh yeah, Discount Shaggy was in that. He was in Jabberjaw.
Yep. Priscilla was like, this is what poor people watch as a kid. I was like, you're right. Sure.
Jesus Christ.
She's not wrong.
Damn.
But to that point, when they get on the train.
Hang on, give Nathan a minute.
You're right. I'll give him a second.
Give Nathan a minute.
It is like if you didn't have cable, you got Speed Buggy and Jabberjaw and all those cartoons.
Yeah, because I was poor and I did watch Jabberjaw.
Yeah.
I like to tell Dustin what poor kids watch. I feel the same about Tom and Jerry.
Jesus Christ.
Really got me.
They get on the train to go to the aunt's house. And Gorgeous starts giving the flashback about the aunt. And I got to say right off the bat, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I personally love the low budget special effects because it plays so well into Nathan had to turn his camera.
Like drooling.
Love is a strong word.
I loved it because I like the painting that's like a matte painting, and then the train that's clearly like construction paper moving across the screen, the rainbow that pops up for no reason.
You mentioned Sam Raimi earlier, and like it has similar qualities to that first Evil Dead, where there's something so uncanny valley about it that it both creeps me out and makes me laugh at the same time.
Yep.
I mean, granted, some of these effects are indefensible.
Wow.
You don't say.
And the director was like, I didn't know how they would look until the movie was done. Like the blue screen stuff later on is so bad, but some of this I really like.
He also said that a lot of the special effects were done as if like a child did it to mirror like the child's perception of how they see it in the movie, which column A, column B kind of stuff. But I kind of like the lo-fi-ness of it because I feel like that does play into like the childlike nature of this movie in general.
Well, it just feels like if you were a poor kid and made a horror movie.
I literally had to describe like, oh yeah, Speed Buggy, he would like stutter, but it would sound like he was backfiring. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, I feel like the true test is, I mean, Dustin, Nathan, y'all got children in your lives. Show them the movie. Let's see what they think.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll show her Speed Buggy before I show her this.
Let's get them on an episode.
I would love to get Scarlett's notes about House. Like, I would love to hear what she's got to say about it.
Oh man,
I bet she would like it. She watched Jaws and she said this is so boring.
Oh, I mean, if she liked Jaws, she's gonna love this.
she loves Street Sharks.
Okay, first off, Street Sharks fucking rules.
Yeah, it's Jawsome.
I'm putting it up there with Gargoyles.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Mac is double fisting cheeseburgers and she tries to feed one to the cat, which I thought was pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, like she talks about the flashback, and I do love all the girls being able to see the flashback in real time. I thought that was pretty great.
That's pretty great.
And then...
Can I read the lyrics to Cherries Were Made for Eating?
Oh,
really quickly?
Course, please.
As sure as cherries were made for eating and fish were made to swim in the sea, you were made to be loved a lot by nobody else but me.
It's beautiful.
It's a cute song, man.
It's beautiful.
So, strongly considering putting it on my wedding playlist.
I was just about to say, so writing your wedding vows is going well.
Oh yeah, I'm just reading that.
I mean, I just assumed you were just going to do Prince lyrics.
I do like that in the flashback, the fiance, it does like a silent film and a card pops up and he says, I'll be back, I promise.
Oh yeah.
And as we're watching this, Priscilla goes, just like a man to lie. I'm like, he got nuked.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
He died in a nuke.
He went to war.
Although, dude, his death scene is wild.
It is.
I was like, he's one of the first people to get nuked. Like, it happened instantly.
Yeah, but how do you know?
You're right, I wasn't there. You're right, I wasn't there. Priscilla's a nuke to dyer.
Wait, didn't he die in a plane crash?
That's what it says, but like, they show the nuke right after when he says, I'll be back. And I'm like, either way, the man died in war.
Yeah, just like the Terminator.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, Dustin was like, he was the first person ever to die from a nuke. And I was like, how do you know? Are you sure?
Front lines.
I was like, I'm pretty sure they all died instantly at the same time. So maybe he's tied as the first person to get nuked. I don't know.
Yeah.
Died instantly the next day.
They show him in a plane.
Well, we also kind of find out that like the cat, I think the cat even says at one point that like he didn't die in the war.
I missed that.
The end of this movie, they throw out so much information so quickly.
Wait, the cat said something?
They say that the cat wrote the letter to bring the girls there, like as the aunts.
Yeah, with the glimmer in its eye.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I've seen the movie twice now, and I still don't get it all. So I'm going based off.
To be fair, I was really zoning out in the third act.
I will say that even though so much is happening in that third act, it is hard to follow. I will give you that for sure.
It's overwhelming because at one point they're just kind of screaming, like Prof is like trying to read and screaming and blood is everywhere and there's eyeballs popping out of the ceiling and I'm just like, Okay, what do I pay attention to this watch?
Disembodied legs are flying. The cat's got a glimmer in its eye. Like there's a lot.
Right.
I mean, it's just a shot-for-shot recreation of the third act of Jaws.
True.
It's beat for beat.
We're going to need a bigger house. I love the gag of them getting out off the bus and they're in front of a billboard that has a skyline on it.
Yep.
Then it zooms out and you see the actual skyline.
And then they basically, it's the same trek that like Nicholas Hoult has to go to get to the castle of Nosferatu. Like they start the hike to the castle. They run into this watermelon patch guy, and he's like, "Oh, nobody." He's the, what do they call it? The harbinger of doom. He's like, "Oh, don't go up there."
The harbinger, yeah. Crazy Ralph.
But he is in a different movie too, because he's in like a Popeyes cartoon.
Yeah.
And the way he gets introduced is they take a watermelon out of the stand and his head is back there in place of it. It's like fucking Master Roshi or something like that. It's so fucking bizarre.
We need to talk about these watermelons because they literally look like the little gumball watermelons.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
They looked perfectly formed watermelons.
I want to eat them. They look delicious.
I want to eat that watermelon.
Want that watermelon?
Give me that watermelon.
Not a watermelon fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They make their way up to the castle, and then the ant gets introduced looking like Dr. Strangelove.
You keep calling it a castle.
It's basic. I mean, like,
is it a castle?
It is in some shots.
Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure it's a different house every time they show an exterior of it. It looks so different.
Well, there seems to be like an outer wall and garden and a moat.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same house they used in Halloween 5, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's the same house as Mitsuki's Stay Soft music video. Like, it looks exactly like it.
And then they get introduced to the ant. She welcomes them all, and then Mac's like, "Well, I brought a watermelon," and one of the girls goes, "Yeah, the watermelon's just as fat as Mac is."
Jesus.
And they all go, "Ha ha ha ha!"
I know.
Jesus Christ.
They fat shame her so bad.
I'm surprised Mac didn't die from fat shaming, like this poor girl. And then they walk into the house for the first time, and right away, this is how you know that the tone, like you already know that the tone of this movie is off based on JT's very perceptive noticing of the movie. But like when they walk in,
I don't think something weird's happening here.
I can't put my finger on it, but they walk in, the chandelier crystals like blink and make a noise. One of the girls goes, "Oh," like gas.
Look out.
One of the crystals falls. In stop motion, it pierces a lizard on the floor. Kung Fu springs into action and kicks another crystal that falls off into the wall while her little tune plays. Yeah. Sweet's hat flies off, and then she goes, "Kung Fu, you're so cool," and then the hat falls back down on her head perfectly.
And then everyone decides, let's go to the next room.
Everyone is nonplussed. They're just like, "Yeah, she's pretty normal to me," and they move on into the next room. And again, that's basically for the next like 60 minutes of the movie. That's what you're getting. It's that kind of stuff.
There's like 2 or 3 separate times where someone says, "I guess I just imagined that," or "that was an illusion."
That was weird.
They're just gaslighting each other.
Right.
Well, also, no one questioned that Blanche just lives here.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though it was a stray cat that we just found.
And that the cat's eyes are constantly blinking green and making like shiny noises.
Oh, no, that's normal.
I don't know. Did you guys clock how many times it's clear someone's throwing that cat from off screen?
Oh, I sure did.
Yeah.
I sure did. When the ant is wheeling herself out of the kitchen, the cat gets chucked from off screen into her lap.
the cat goes, "Ah!"
And also, I'm pretty sure that cat never actually makes a noise. I'm pretty sure it's all stock sound effects of just cats because it sounds different every time.
Oh, yeah.
So that cat really didn't sing that cat song?
It sure did.
Meow, 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 meow.
That's my favorite part.
Me too.
It's so good.
I'm genuinely shocked that hasn't made its way onto TikTok yet as a sound.
No kidding.
I was like, this is the first cat meme.
Yeah, this is the first cat meme for sure.
Ever.
And then actually, I think the only direct homage to Jaws we get here in just a second because Matt goes to put the watermelon in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
The ant says, "Oh, the fridge is out of order. We'll use a natural refrigerator. We'll put it in the well."
Mm-hmm.
And then, so she does. She ties it on a rope, drops it down to the well. And then at dinner time, she says, "I'll go get the watermelon." And as she's retrieving the rope, it does do a Hitchcock zoom to her pulling the watermelon out.
Yes.
And then JT, I want to know if you noticed this. I don't know. It's really hard to tell, but it's not actually a watermelon that comes out of the well. It's actually
Mac's head.
It's Mac's severed head.
Mac's headroom, if you will.
Bravo. And it starts floating in midair, this disembodied head, and it bites. Is it fantasy or who is it? I can't remember.
Fantasy is the one who keeps seeing insane shit, and everyone else misses it, which is my favorite running gag of the movie. Like Auntie going into the refrigerator while Fantasy's watching. Auntie is a fucking scamp.
Yeah. You fucking think?
Maybe my favorite moment of the movie is, yes, they're cleaning up, and as they're cleaning up, it's from like almost like a CCTV footage angle. The aunt steps into the refrigerator. Fantasy's the only one that sees it. She drops a dish and cries.
She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And the professor comes over and is like, what happened? And she opens the fridge and goes, it's a normal fridge inside. And then you see in the foreground, the aunt steps into frame, like up in the attic. And she like spikes the camera. And then she does a jaunty little jig with a skeleton that is animated doing the dance too.
She dances with a skeleton. The cat dances on the piano. She eats a hand.
I can't believe you guys don't think this belongs in the Criterion Collection. That's my point.
She looks in the camera so many times, and every time she has this smile that's like, ain't I a stinker?
Ain't I a stinker, exactly. You know what? She's kind of the Joker, baby. Like, if we're going to be honest with you. And then Kung Fu goes to chop firewood. She chops one log, and she is pouring sweat.
Missed opportunity not to have her karate chop the firewood.
Good point, because the logs, the split logs attack her. They rip her skirt off, and she karate kicks them away, and she goes, well, I guess I lost my skirt.
That was ridiculous.
Never puts a skirt on after that.
And you're going to say this is not a horny movie.
She also is just like, oh, that was weird. Must have been an illusion.
Yep.
What?
My skirt's actually on.
Why are they so calm about illusions in this fucking movie? Is everyone a fucking magician?
If they would have done something...
What is this, Arrested Development?
If they would have done something where like, oh, the house, when you enter it, it plays with your mind or something like that. But they don't really.
No.
The only thing that comes of that is Gorgeous basically gets possessed by the aunt's spirit.
They're illusions, Gorgeous.
She goes up to the aunt's room and starts like brushing her hair in this vanity mirror.
And then Michael Myers comes into the room. It's like, that's where my sister sat, and then fucking murders her. Better movie.
This is where I think Sam Raimi got some of the Evil Dead stuff on, because the mirror's reflection doesn't correspond to the actual Gorgeous. And like she starts seeing like fire in the mirror, which then shatters and it starts crying. Her reflection starts crying blood.
This is the effect that is fully done in Twin Peaks: The Return. There's a character whose face shatters and there's like flames inside her head.
Yeah, like the glass shatter effect appears over Gorgeous's face, and behind it, it's just flames. And it's supposed to be that she's now getting possessed by the aunt's spirit. And
this is all set against Melody sitting down to play Welcome to the Black Parade.
Oh my God. Okay, I had that note.
We all got that same note, because it is like the same notes at the beginning. It's so funny that you said that.
She literally goes, ding, ding. And I was like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, when we hear that first keynote, we're like, oh, hell yeah.
My auntie took me to the Hausu.
Yeah, I'm so glad, because Priscilla pointed out too. She's like, this motherfucker about to play the Black Parade. And I was like, that's so fucking funny. But yeah, this is where like a lot of the effects start to take over, and like the movie really kicks into high gear, because Melody starts playing the piano, and she gets so entranced in the piano that her fingers get caught in between the piano keys,
which makes her have to take a huge shit. Apparently, that's the next scene.
Apparently, yeah, she goes to the bathroom, and everyone is just kind of scattered around looking for everyone else. Like, Mac is missing. Gorgeous has been possessed by the aunt. No one can find the aunt.
Sweet gets killed by a bed.
A couple of them.
Yeah, like a bunch of mattresses start in a futon swirl tornado start attacking her.
Yeah.
Attack of the killer cushions.
Basically. And then, yeah, like there's no point at this point in describing this happens and then this happens, because it is all happening simultaneously.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They do say that Mr. Togo is supposed to come visit them at some point, and we keep cutting back to him and all his wacky adventures. Like,
I was like, every time we cut back to the teacher, I'm like, why are we doing this?
The one that I did like was when Fantasy has that daydream of Mr. Togo on horseback, and he's dressed like Jack of all trades or something. It made me laugh really hard.
And they're in a movie too, because there's like the N that pops up over over her face and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mr. Togo is supposed to be coming to visit them, but keeps getting distracted.
Why is the teacher coming to visit this group of teenage girls?
Yeah, I'm so confused about him.
Because it's fucking creepy.
He was supposed to be their chaperone for vacation.
Yeah.
And then he missed the train because his butt got stuck in a bucket.
Yeah, I got that.
That all makes sense.
When we first introduced with him, he says, bad news, my sister's having a kid, so we can't go to the cabin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I'm like, who is this guy?
The movie does not make it clear anyone's intentions almost ever. I will give you that. It is very slapdash and like...
his intention is very clear.
Well, I got no rebuttal to that. But yeah, like I do...
Call this movie house candy.
He gets to the watermelon guy at some point, and then he says, I don't like watermelons. The watermelon guy turns into a skeleton, and then Mr. Togo runs back to Speed Buggy, and then he starts going banana.
Because he prefers bananas over watermelons. Yeah.
He's a big Gwen Stefani fan.
But then the footage is in a loop of him putting his hat on and taking it off, and it's going banana. This is so my fucking movie.
Mally, didn't you say before we started recording that he turned into a minion?
Yes.
God damn it.
He just becomes a fucking minion.
He turns into a bunch of bananas. Look.
No, I know. I saw the movie.
Yeah, no, we watched it, DC. We're aware.
I want to make sure JT noticed it.
It's the second craziest thing in the movie.
He just turns into a bunch of bananas.
But why?
I like the gag where Gorgeous comes downstairs to call the police, and she picks up the phone and just hears screaming on the other end, and she goes, it's out of order.
Yep.
Oh, no, that's the police.
She didn't lie.
R/technically the truth.
Right.
So yeah, Gorgeous leaves. She says, I'll go get the police.
Yeah.
And as she leaves, the house kind of like closes in on itself so the other girls can't leave.
Right.
Kung Fu tries kicking a wall down, which I thought was pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
Because they play her fucking Sting again, which gets me every time. And then Melody starts playing the piano. She gets eaten by the piano. Like it bites her fingers off, and then it like opens up like that.
Pure fucking cartoon horror right there.
Yeah.
It is. Like the effects are so fucking funny. Like the keys start lighting up different colors. The piano's mouth is flapping open with like sharp teeth and everything. But
JT compared some of the shots to like Creepshow last week, and I think that this scene is especially, that's so apt. Like the weird like halo like explosion effect in the scene.
See, I felt like it was that racist scene from Aristocat.
Oh yeah, like
yeah,
when they're doing the yeah.
Which one?
Good point. But it is like that in Hellraiser when we talked about when like the cummies shoot out of the box.
When
like that.
I'm sorry. Come again?
You guys were there for that episode.
I remember.
I'm not going back.
Just because I was there doesn't mean I fucking...
So yeah, Melody gets eaten by the piano, and then as they're looking around, they find Sweet is trapped in a grandfather clock. And
wait, no, you skipped.
Oh.
You skipped a very important part of this piano.
Please.
Where she was telling the piano how naughty it was.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
She sees her legs
Right.
hanging out. She goes, that's naughty.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, naughty.
And her disembodied head, is floating in front of the screen and sees and goes, that's naughty.
Hey, what's that movie about the house with a clock in its wall?
And so, yeah, they find Sweet being chewed up by the gears inside this grandfather clock that just fills with blood.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that's left at this point are Fantasy and Professor and Gorgeous. And Gorgeous is
and Melody's Fingy is still playing the piano.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just riffing.
It's now moved on to like teenagers or another fucking My Chemical Romance. And so Gorgeous is in like this like almost like geisha attire, like walking around.
Yeah.
And she's clearly possessed by the ant.
She seems to poop out a book.
She poops out a book
As one does.
that is like the ant's diary. And as they're reading it, they're
Too
like,
much fiber in her diet.
they're like, oh, Blanche is responsible for all this, the cat.
Y'all wonder why I don't trust cats. Now you know.
Kung Fu runs out and kicks a painting of the cat. At which point, the cat painting turns evil and starts spewing blood
Hell
so
yeah.
much that it fills this room up. And Kung Fu starts trying to defend Professor in Fantasy. And as she does, this light fixture drops down and starts eating her from the head down to the point where her disembodied legs are still walking around kicking things.
I thought that was like the best scene.
It's pretty great.
To be honest with you, I mean, that was the only one that was like, that is kind of creepy.
The whole end of the movie is great.
That's when the lamp seems to suck her up into it, too.
Yeah,
and
it's like a grinder, like churning her up into itself.
Right. And then we see this weird, like, psychedelic limbo where, like, everyone's bits and bobs are, like, floating around in space.
There's like severed torsos and severed arms and legs.
And Kung Fu's legs somehow come back from the netherworld to attack the painting again.
Yeah.
And so the room is filling up with blood.
It all makes perfect fucking sense.
Uh-huh.
And Professor and Fantasy are trying to like stay afloat.
Those two are getting their Jack and Rose moment.
They sure
Right.
are. But Professor gets sucked underwater and gets like disintegrated with like this weird Andy Warhol effect, kind of. It's so bizarre. And Fantasy's still left, and Gorgeous comes down the stairs, and she goes to take Fantasy's hand, and as she does, it swats between the ants and Gorgeous. And I don't think do we actually see how Fantasy dies, or it's just she dies off screen? I don't recall.
I don't think so, yeah.
So much is happening at this point.
Yeah.
But we're at the end, and so the stepmom arrives at the house.
Yeah.
And again, the wind is only blowing on her scarf for some reason.
Yeah.
But she enters the house. Gorgeous is there, and she lets her in. And the stepmom goes, well, where are your friends? And she goes, oh, they'll wake up soon, and they'll be hungry.
Dun, dun, dun.
As she's saying this, the stepmom is smiling and then just bursts into flames.
Yeah.
And Gorgeous gives this speech about the flesh. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's literally it. Like, it just kind of ends.
Yeah, she gives this speech about how, like, love never dies and all of this stuff. It's very Phantom of the Opera.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. Like, it sounds anticlimactic, but, like, it is kind of, like, played as, like, this dreamlike nature. Like, everything is very soft and slow motion. And Gorgeous is clearly still the aunt. And then, yeah, like, I don't know really what to make of the stepmom bursting into flames, because if it was happening and like the stepmom was panicky and freaking out or whatever.
But she's still smiling.
She's still smiling and like a tranced almost. So
Are you sure she wasn't in on it?
I don't know.
Who?
The stepmom.
The stepmom.
I don't know what end.
She's like, I always wanted to be flames.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because the whole reason she like went there is because like the stepmom came and she was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
That's true.
Right. And then the stepmom comes to pick her up, but I don't know. I don't know to what end the stepmom and the aunts would plan all of this, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
It's all a spirit. It's all the house spirit.
Like the stepmom is also the aunt spirit?
It can obviously take the body of a cat.
That's true.
It could take the body of the stepmom.
Or a watermelon.
It's also a crazy plan to be like, I really hope she doesn't like me and runs away to her aunt's house.
Why not?
This is one of those movies where I don't need it all explained to me. It's just vibes at the end for me. I'm like, okay.
It's all vibes.
Yeah.
The vibes were off, y'all.
The vibes were low budget. I'll give you that for sure. And yeah, that's
House.
Does anyone have any other notes?
Roadhouse.
That we missed?
I have a note.
What's the note?
A life lesson.
Oh, please.
If you're a pedophile, you will turn into bananas.
That should have been my clue for this week's episode.
You will be bananas.
BANANAS.
I think, Priscilla, what are your notes? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you literally just wrote down the cat.
Yeah.
Did you add any? Did you amend that at all?
Oh, good point.
Good point. What?
I love this cat.
I mean, truly, like one of my big takeaways from this movie was the cat, y'all. Like, I love that cat. That cat's a star.
The cat rules. I'll give you that.
The cat was great.
Mm-hmm.
He was the star of the show.
He had stars in his eyes.
Dustin thought it was important to remind me consistently throughout the movie, this cat is dead.
Long dead. Long dead. That cat's been long dead. Yeah.
Dustin does it every time we watch a movie with
I
a pet
know.
in it. Goes, hope you know this animal's dead.
I mean, I'm just spitting facts here, folks. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
He also reminded us about the cat in Black Christmas earlier this season.
I can't wait for there's like a tortoise in a movie and we could just say, no, he's not.
No, he's not.
Still
Fuck
kicking,
you,
baby.
Dustin.
Fuck you, Dustin.
So yeah, any other notes, fellas and lady, before we get into our wrap up?
No, I have so many options for Prop Cop.
Oh, boy.
I'm so excited.
Well, let's get over to it. So if you're new to the show, Prop Cop is where we're going to look at all of the props in the film.
House.
And we're each going to take one home for ourselves. Nathan, you obviously seem eager to go. What's the prop you want the most?
I want that cat painting.
Oh, the one with the roses on it?
But specifically, I want the angry version.
Sure.
Yeah, with the snarl.
The one that spews blood.
Yeah, I want it to be able to do that.
Sure. Priscilla, do you have a prop that you want?
I have two, so I can't decide.
Should we come back to you? Maybe someone else will take one of them and that'll alleviate you?
I don't think anyone's gonna take these.
I honestly would be surprised too.
Take them both.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Go ahead. What both props do you want?
I want the fucking watermelon.
Yeah,
Of course.
It's good looking watermelon.
And I want the bus because it has like the cat painted on the side.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
We didn't talk about the bus. You're right. I think I really went back and forth on a couple of these. There's when they're on the train to the aunt's house, there's another passenger on the train that's reading a book,
Mm-hmm.
and it just says horror movies, and it's got a picture of Frankenstein's monster on it.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what's in that book, but I want that book.
Give me that book.
I got to read that book. JT, what prop do you want?
At the watermelon stand, he has like his little mascot. It's like a watermelon rind.
Yeah,
that's has eyes.
Oh, I missed that.
Okay, I didn't know what the fuck that thing was.
It actually laughs at one point. I think it's the first time you're introduced to him.
Oh, it's great.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it out because I saw the thing too and I was like, what the fuck is that?
I thought it was an owl.
I couldn't tell what the fuck that thing was.
Are you talking about this thing that was like standing, the statue?
Yeah.
No, it's like hanging on the side of the stand.
Oh, we're talking about two different things then.
There was like a statue. It was like a buff owl.
No idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
There's a weird like owl thing that's by the watermelon. Like, what is this thing? What
what the shit?
What is that?
Look at the opposite corner of the watermelon stand. Hold on. This guy rules, dude.
Jesus Christ.
All right, you see the rice hat there?
What?
Yeah.
This?
Right there. Yeah.
Is that not just another? Oh, I see it.
Oh.
How the hell did you even see that?
It's like a Pac-Man watermelon.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's like a jack-o'-lantern, but it's a watermelon.
Yeah, but in a little bit, it laughs by itself when he laughs.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of times things in the background just are animated, like the skeleton that's just doing the jig while Melody is playing the Black Parade and no one sees it, it's so fucking funny.
Oh, yeah. That skeleton is a star.
Skeleton rules. Let's see if I can find it again. I just want to see him.
The skeleton probably alive still.
Look, there he is. Look at him. Look at that boy dance.
Oh, you didn't talk about that guy's bus that he was on.
Oh, right.
It was like blinged out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when like there's like the Dolly Parton tour bus when Mr. Togo is coming.
Right.
There's a lot of movie in this movie. Okay, we're gonna get distracted. Mally, any props that you want?
I'll have the piano. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Ooh, it's good piano.
Yeah, minus like the murdery notes, but
All right, well, let's talk about bit part. I think you'll like the cue that I picked for this.
Oh, boy.
That's a lot of nuts!
Jesus Christ.
Here you go, baby. You want fries with that?
Oh God. So there's a couple of different bits in this movie that I think would be great. I'm stuck between two because I think they're both equally amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll go with the one that's maybe less noticeable. But when they're on the bus and Gorgeous is given the flashback story about what happened with her aunt.
Yeah.
When it cuts back to the bus, there's just a guy that's just sitting in the middle of the
You
group.
talking about the old man in the back?
Yeah, he's just sitting there listening in. Like,
Damn
he just shows up.
And then he gets terrified by the cat for just this frame.
Well, like he's not there when she starts telling the story, that he's there like very invested in it. I thought it was pretty great.
It's so funny.
Nathan, who do you want to be?
When it cuts to Mr. Togo at the ramen shop, there's
Yep.
like just a guy in a bear suit.
Yep.
Damn it! That was my backup.
I knew it.
I want to be that guy.
There's a couple different great options when they're at the ramen shop.
I love the ramen shop owner interrupting the present action.
Yep.
Like he scares fantasy, and then that leads us into the scene at the ramen shop.
Yeah, why not?
He comes in like Boss Nass, and, just going.
He does.
While he's eating.
Oh, that's good.
Mally, who do you want to be?
Oh, I'm the dancing skeleton, baby.
Yeah. Great choice.
Great choice. JT?
Oh man, I'll be the. Hold on.
I mean, GT's the watermelon guy, right?
Oh, 100%.
I don't want to be the watermelon guy.
I don't want to be the watermelon guy.
I guess I will.
You just doing the One Tree Hill theme song?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where's the Mad Max blinged out truck?
Oh, I'll find it. I'll find it. Well, while we're looking for that, Priscilla.
Did you say the Mad Max blinged up cuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, I'll choose that guy.
While I'm looking for it, Priscilla, is there anybody you want to be in the movie?
Yeah, I want to be the cat.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Great choice.
Or the fat girl.
Or the fat girl. God, this poor girl.
Or one of the goldfish.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the weird goldfish.
This guy right here, JT, is that who you want to be?
Look at this.
Oh, that guy rules.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's Dolly Parton's tour bus. Like while she was in Japan.
Oh, shit. Yeah, yeah.
She was on the Rhinestone press tour.
But I love how that was like the nicest like road rage though. He's like, it's backed up for miles. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm sorry.
All right, that's chill.
Yeah.
The one time explaining the situation to somebody calms their rage.
All right, well, let's talk about it, folks. The silver lining.
So the end of this movie shows us, I mean, I know there's the line about my friends waking up hungry, but it also shows us sort of like a recap of all the characters. And for some reason, it gives me the feeling that they are in a better place.
I'm sorry, the little skeletons distracted me, but I fully agree.
Like their bodies are probably going to still be possessed, but I think their spirits are not there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying.
I
There's
can get down
there's
with
not
that.
a whole lot to pull from the end of this movie.
Mally, what's your silver lining?
No, I don't know. Everyone died.
Yeah.
So you're like back to not trying anymore, right? Like, yeah. Okay, cool. We had like one episode.
That was all I had for this one. I could not think. I sat there for 20 minutes trying to think of a fucking silver lining, and all I could come up with was everyone's dead.
Listen, I don't fault him because my silver lining is much better either. I wrote down, because this one's hard. I wrote down, well, I guess Gorgeous didn't get a stepmom after all.
She didn't want one.
She didn't want the stepmom.
Now they're all going to live forever in the house, though, in their spirit.
I want this shot of the speed buggy where Mr. Togo pulls up just to go.
Poor kids.
I want a divorce.
I want a divorce. Priscilla, what's your silver lining to House?
The fucking watermelon man had his first customer in fucking probably years.
Oh my god,
that's good.
But he didn't make any money off of them.
No, Max said she bought the watermelon.
She said she went back and bought one. Yeah.
Oh, and you believe her?
I mean, I don't know.
God, how do you not like this movie? Look at this. This is great. I can't believe you guys. So disappointed. JT, do you got a silver lining?
Kung Fu went out swinging.
Yeah. That's a good pun. I like that.
From a fucking chandelier, yes.
She tried.
It's so funny because I thought that was going to electrocute her.
It does, I think.
No, it eats her.
No, it just eats her.
It does both. God, this movie rolls. I'm sorry.
No, it's fun. I don't dislike this movie.
Okay. Well, let's say this. If you did watch this movie and you didn't enjoy your time with it, that's okay. We're going to give you a double feature. We're going to talk about a pick-me-up.
Mm-hmm.
I will say a movie that I don't actually recommend as a pick-me-up, but a movie that I feel like if you want the closest to this film that you can get in an American film, the first thing that came to mind for me, not necessarily on a special effects level, but in terms of just the absolute absurdity of it all.
Sure.
Beau is Afraid.
Oh, wow.
I feel like if you want to continue a fever dream of a movie, watch Hausu and then jump on over to Beau, and I think you'll have a good afternoon.
Very similar the skylines and backgrounds.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kung Pao. I thought I was prepared for it.
I'm holding back on recommending Kung Pao because I think Kung Pao is a future episode.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to recommend it just yet. So let's go around the horn. Nathan, what do you think people should watch after they watch House?
I think they should watch another movie with the same title, 1985's House.
I knew someone was
directed
gonna
by
do
Steve
it.
Miner.
Yep.
Because that movie is also hilarious.
I knew someone was going to recommend that one. JT, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh, yeah.
Nice choice.
Great movie.
Not bad.
Mally?
Mean Girls.
Okay. To get the opposite of the Nice Girls.
A lot of fat shaming in that one, too.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm stuck between two. I'll give my official one here. I think if you want another movie that involves like a creepy house and also characters that just have an interesting time in it, Addams Family Values.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think would be a fun time.
That movie fucking rules.
So
Rewatched
hard.
it last year. It's so good.
But also, I think if I'm going to give a secondary one, a movie that I watched for the first time last year that's also great. And I think it also plays into like this idea of like kind of comical deaths and interesting special effects.
Mm-hmm.
Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think would be a fun time.
One of my faves.
Movie rules. Priscilla, what about you?
You know I'm waiting to say Harry and the Hendersons.
God. Oh, God.
But that's not my choice. But you know, I feel like I need to mention this.
Yeah.
We got to do that as as a bonus episode someday.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, I chose though Scooby-Doo's Ghoul School.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She did. She was so excited to pull up the screenshots of that and show it to me.
That's what rich kids watch.
Kids with means watch this one.
But yeah, it is technically a horror movie, ladies and gents. What's the best kill?
Oh, I mean the
That's
piano, for sure.
Yeah, I wrote the piano too.
Yeah.
I think a good runner-up would be Sweet, because I like her just in the grandfather clock, just getting grinded up by the gears.
Although I did just watch Mr. Togo flipping out. I mean, if we saw him become bananas on screen, maybe that would be the best.
But we don't actually see it. He becomes bananas off screen.
That wasn't in the budget though.
Death Becomes Bananas.
Bananas becomes him.
Yeah, there you go. And I guess we've kind of already answered this question throughout the episode, but do we recommend 1977's House?
I'd say yeah. I think there's, I mean, I don't know. I think there's nothing else really like it.
There surely is not.
If you want to see something that definitely inspired some of your favorite filmmakers, then go check it out. It's so weird and it's so short.
Yeah, I think without question, it is so singular.
Yeah.
And it is so unique. And it is so this director's vision just on display. I think the backstory of this thing and how we went from Jaws to this is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Much like Mr. Togo, but
I would say don't watch it twice in a week like I did, because I do think it wears on you on repeat viewings.
Just go watch Jaws.
Watch Jaws and then watch this and say, oh yeah, these are the same movie back to back.
Watch them on 2 screens next to each other, eyes propped open like Clockwork Orange.
I feel like if you give it once around, don't go into it expecting to like fully understand it or grasp everything, because it is just going to wash over you at parts, and that's kind of the intention, I feel like.
Like blood.
Like a room full of blood.
I feel like you just gotta enjoy it. You have to enjoy the ride.
Don't try to make sense of it. Just let it take you over. Much like The House.
Don't watch it at 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
No, not a good time. Not a good time to wake up and just throw House on.
In my defense, I was going to watch it last night, but, I watched Final Destination 2 and 3 instead.
Hell yeah.
Fun time.
Should have been dead on a Sunday morning watching Hausu.
And that is 1977's
House.
So your stripper dwarf name is
you know what?
Melody as well.
That's a good point. Who do we think we are in this? I'm going to say Matt because I'm the fattest right now.
Hey, I don't know about that, brother.
No, you're going to be a new character called Fetish.
Ooh. JT, I think is going to be Kung Fu, maybe?
JT's sweet.
You think JT's sweet? Okay.
I think so. Or fantasy.
I think,
Fuck it, I'm the dead ant.
Man, it's a tough choice. I don't know. Fuck it. This bit's dead. Let's move on. If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, leave feedback. If you haven't already, you can follow us on social media on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Lemonade. If you haven't already, check out our Reddit at reddit.com/r/7linings playlist. You can check out our website, tslppodcast.com. You can submit your own bit part by emailing us or using that contact us form on our website. And lastly, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Silverlinings playlist, where we have officially wrapped up Show Guys. There's one final episode coming out, our live stream that we did on Showgirls 2 on March 1st. And then we're starting our new endeavor, which you'll just have to wait and see what that is.
Teenage murders in a house.
And I think the only other thing I want to say is we put out the poll for our 200th episode. If you didn't listen to our Jill Rips episode, and I don't blame you, if you didn't listen to that, we announced it. And we're giving you, the audience, the option to pick our 200th episode. The choices are 2001: A Space Odyssey, Back to the Future Part 2, Halloween Resurrection, and I see here somebody wrote in Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
But that is not an option. If you go to any of our social media pages, you'll see a video pinned for the 200th episode poll. Just leave a comment there. If you're a Patreon member, your 1 vote equals 10 votes. And the poll ends March 15th. So you tell us what movie to cover on our 200th episode. We'll announce the winner on our 199th episode on March 31st, whatever that is. And that's all I got to say. Priscilla, thank you for coming on and give us your thoughts about the cat.
Yeah.
And House in general. That's all I got. I think the only last bit of business here, Nathan, is you got to give us a clue for what we're talking about next week.
Yeah. Step away from the meat.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I love it.
I've never seen this movie, and I specifically avoided it because of the title. So I hope it's worth my time.
We'll see.
But we'll see.
I sought it out because of the title.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, that's all I got. So rest in peace, Oatmeal, and I guess I got to say Blanche the cat as well. And as always, a human head. Everybody has one.
Kung Fu, don't lose.
I think you're forgetting something, Dustin.
Oh, I love my wife. Sorry. Oh my God. You know what?
Let's go. Okay, let's start over. Let's scrap this episode.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Silverlinings playlist.
Oh, absolutely. Nope, I'm out. Fuck this.
Welcome to the show where we all love our wives and the points don't matter.
I'm going to go step into this grandfather clock. I'll be back.
Whose wife is it anyway?
Hey. It's mine, just so we're clear.
And done.
When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band.
Hello YouTube! If you've made it this far, thanks. Could you do us one more favor? Could you hit those like and subscribe buttons? Maybe leave us a comment on what you think of the show. We'd really appreciate it. Join us again next week for an all-new episode. Bye!